Today I'm off to a massive FA Cup clash between Step 4 Biggleswade FC and National League High Flyers York City. Is a cup upset on the cards? Let's find out. One of the reasons for this game being so big for Biggleswade is because of their interesting history, being formed just 8 years ago in 2016. The team was initially the under-18 side of another club called Biggleswade Town. They played some great football, winning back-to-back youth promotions, along with reaching the second round of the FA Youth Cup. However, Biggleswade Town didn't really have any further pathway for the under-18s to go on to carry on developing. So in 2016, the decision was made to separate from Biggleswade Town FC and to become their own individual team called Biggleswade FC that play in the senior divisions of non-league football. 2 promotions came in their first 3 seasons as their own club, and they now currently compete at Step 4 of the non-league pyramid, the Isthmian Division 1 Central. Having been formed just 8 years ago, the club haven't really had a chance to build their own stadium yet, and so they currently ground share here at the Eyrie, which is also home to Bedford Town FC. It's got a capacity of over 3,000 and is located just outside of Biggleswade. Now today's game has got to be the biggest match that Biggleswade have played in their short history as they take on York City, the National League High Flyers, who are currently 3rd in their division and also pushing for promotion into the Football League this season. Over 1,000 people are expected here in the ground today, a club record attendance, and it's in the 4th qualifying round of the FA Cup, with a spot in the first round up for grabs today. So a really big prize, lots of money on the line too with the FA Cup prize money, so it's a very big day for the club. Well, I've picked up myself a copy of their matchday programme today, really nice for just £3, which isn't a bad price at all, with the FA Cup on it. And having a flick through, it does go through their FA Cup run so far, which, as I mentioned, has already been record-breaking, their best ever run in their short history. They started off in the competition winning a replay against Stansted, then they played the London Lions, then it was Basildon United, AFC Dunstable, the last round was Canvey Island, and now of course they're here today playing against York City. They've had a decent season in the league so far too, just outside of those playoff places, and their top scorer is Daniel Bond, who's on 7 goals for the season so far. I then caught up with Biggleswade joint manager Dave Northfield about the tie. So when that draw was first made, you pulled out York City. It's a fantastic draw for the club. What was your first reaction and how has your approach been in the build-up to this match?
The first reaction was I think we'd hit the jackpot. You know, with all the nostalgia and history of the FA Cup, to draw what I felt was the biggest game in it. Yeah. And that's no disrespect to Barnet and a couple of teams that are above them in the National League, but York is a big name, and it was weirdly enough on the day we came through against Canvey, that was the team we was talking about. The build up to it, you've started, is been a bit of a whirlwind. You know, you go from little Biggleswade FC, and the only time I get to speak to anybody is our Lee Rusbridge, our secretary, who talks to us after every game, and a rare piece when 3 counties were to call, or I've done a couple of non-league shows. So it's very rare. And then this week I've spoken to York Radio, and obviously the BBC had a piece on us today, and they came to my works and spoke to us. So we've been, you know, it feels like you've almost been a bit of the big time for a week.
What do you hope to gain from this game, from all the media attraction, in terms of growing the club, growing the attendances, things like that? Even if you do manage to get through prize money, what do you hope to gain from it?
I think we'd like the traction. We want traction in getting on our own ground. Yeah. A piece of land. There is some land in Biggleswade. It's owned by builders, and it's land that won't have houses on it. I've seen Biggleswade as a town not move that far when it comes to leisure facilities. We've lost hockey clubs, we've lost athletic clubs. So if we can get some help with that, if we can get that moving, it would be fantastic. And to come out of this, you know, I'm not getting younger, as you can see, and I'd like to see this club into its own home.
The players are used to playing in front of a couple hundred people for most of their matches. As you say, today will be over 1,000. How have you prepared them for this match in terms of coping with such a big crowd? Will they just fit into it naturally? What do you think that will affect?
I don't know how we can. We've never had it. We had 1,000 when we played. I think it was Luton Town in the County Cup final 2 seasons ago, which was brilliant. I think that part of it they'll thrive in. I think the fact that we're striving to play in front of big crowds, we're striving to get more people in. So if that does, I mean, I'm walking around out there today, and I'm excited by looking around and seeing how many people are, and I'm sure they're exactly the same.
Yeah. The magic of the FA Cup has sort of been lost in recent times with the bigger teams in their bigger competitions. But why do you feel this competition is still so important, especially for non-league clubs like Biggleswade?
Well, the most important thing with it, with our levels and the levels below that come into it, I think step 6 can come into this, some of the step 6 side, is if you win games, it's monetary value. Because none of us are daft, we're not going to be winning the FA Cup. But we've put ourselves in a position this season by playing the 5 games we've played to get to the round we have, where we've probably taken away any pressures this season for renting this ground, and then you're in it for a dream like today. Say we've got York City, and I can imagine that so many clubs, would have loved this draw, and we were lucky enough to get it pulled out the hat, and wow, what a draw.
I'm joined now by Simon Oxley. You're here from the BBC, the local regional station. Why have you decided to come down to Biggleswade today to watch this game?
I'm an old romantic, I suppose. I love the FA Cup. It's fantastic, and I used to work in Bedford on the local paper here when this ground was first set up by Bedford Town. It was sort of reformed and played on park pitches, and then found a place to build a ground.
Yeah.
And the fact that Biggleswade have come up against York City is too good an opportunity to miss. Plus, I'll be honest, it's an international weekend, and we haven't got our usual round of matches. But it's excellent to be here, and as a Yorkshireman as well, to have York City visiting is great. And I've commentated on York at Wembley when they played Luton in the conference playoff final. So it's it has all the makings of a great FA Cup tie.
Obviously, the media can do great things for clubs at these levels, especially, with the big game today. I saw a report on them on the BBC Breakfast show this morning. Why do you think it's important for the media to cover non-league clubs, especially like Biggleswade? I
think it always is a great story, and I think, just speaking to the chairman a moment ago of Biggleswade, obviously they've made some money out of it, but not huge amounts, but nonetheless important amounts for a club of their size. But he said the biggest thing we've had is exposure. We've had that media interest, and the media love a story. And the piece on BBC Breakfast with Mike Bushell this morning, if nothing else, it was an opportunity to run the old clip of Keith Houchin scoring a penalty for York against Arsenal in the 1980s. And that's what the FA Cup is. People love that. The ability to, roll out the old footage of, how many times will we see Ronnie Radford's goal for Hereford this FA Cup time around? There is still an appetite for the FA Cup amidst all the Champions League and Premier League and goodness knows what else. People love an FA Cup story, and the media as well. I think a lot of people in the media are of a generation where they still remember the FA Cup as, FA Cup final Saturday was the thing to do. So I think that's part of it. But, it's great to see your generation getting involved with it as well.
And obviously, one of the great things about the FA Cup is those cup sets that can happen. Do you think we could have one on the cards today?
It's unlikely, but then it was very unlikely that York were going to beat Arsenal all those years ago. You never know. I was noticing on the footage of that, the pitch was terrible because it was pouring with rain and it was January and it was muddy, and obviously here we've got a brand new 3G pitch, so it's not quite the leveler that you might get, but who knows? Biggleswade will have a go. If York are not 100% at it, I'm sure their manager will be saying to them, look, this is their cup final, we've got to play to our levels. Everything about it says they'll win comfortably, but you never know, and that's why we're here. Because we don't know.
Thank you for your time and enjoy the match.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Okay, so as usual we got some food. Cheeseburger and chips were £8 each. £8 each. Chunky chips, those look really nice. The melted cheese, lovely soft bun. I'm gonna try.
Here we go.
Looks really nice, and a lovely clubhouse as well. Messy, but that looks very, very tasty. It was then time for the match, and both teams made their way out onto the pitch in front of a bumper crowd.
Biggleswade FC.
The first chance of the game went to Sinclair, whose strike was well over the bar. Seven minutes in though, and York's Ollie Pearce was on the receiving end of a low-driven cross into the box, able to tap home to put the visitors 1-0 up. Biggleswade's spirits weren't dampened, however, with this lovely bit of play almost sending Adam Hunt through on goal. Five minutes after the opener, the ball was played to Amir Hadi, who scored with an incredible flick to make it 1-1. And up the other end of the pitch, Biggleswade continued to defend well. Akinyemi then tried his luck, the ball just scraping the crossbar. Biggleswade's continuous pressing almost paid off here, Hunt winning the ball back, laying it off to Hadi, whose low power shot was saved. The game was starting to get a little bit scrappy, with lots of fouls on show and a fair few yellow cards too. Just on the stroke of half time, a ball was played across the goal mouth and Akinyemi was there to score, almost identical to the first goal, to put York back in front. The second half began with Biggleswade pressure, Peter Holmes smashing the ball just wide. Up the other end, George Rose was called into action, tipping this shot over the bar with some great reflexes. But 88 minutes in the dying moments of the game, a counter-attack saw Pearce bundle the ball over the line to make it 3-1 to City, wrapping up the win. A late goal back for FC was close. Northfield's shot cleared off the line in injury time. And that was full time, 3-1 to York, but a fantastic effort from Biggleswade.
Final score in the FA Cup fourth qualifying round.
Well, full time here at the Eyrie and a 3-1 victory for the visitors York City to send them through to the first round proper of the FA Cup. But I must say, you know, Biggleswade did put out a valiant effort from minute 1 to minute 90. They defended well, they attacked well, they had a fair few chances where they could have even maybe won the game, and ultimately it was just an unlucky goal to concede at the end of the first half and another at the end of the second half, which did see them come out of the competition. But despite the result on the pitch, I must say today and the past couple of weeks as well as a whole have been a victory for this team. Formed just 8 years ago in 2016, and yet the amount of media coverage they've got recently, being on BBC Breakfast this morning, not just the regional one, but the whole of the UK seeing them on TV. There've been countless articles written on them. I'm sure not just this, but more YouTube videos as well made on the team just because of this game. the money they would have raised through the prize money from the previous 5 rounds as well of this competition. It's been a fantastic day for them, and hopefully, you know, their fortunes only continue to rise. Thank you so much to Lee for arranging my day here. I've had a fantastic time, and thank you to Dave, the manager, too, for his time. And also a big thank you to Simon from the BBC for agreeing to speak to me. If you did enjoy watching, please make sure to like, subscribe, share and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.